everyone, and welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I'm your host, Nathan Ragland, and if this is your first time tuning in, this is the fantastic weekly podcast to where we bring on artists of all walks of life and have them talk about the art that they've devoted themselves to, their art journey so far, inspiration and aspirations, and so much more. And if you tuned in today's episode looking for the most jaw-dropping, heart-stopping, mind-bending paraphernalia you've ever laid your eyes and ears upon, well, I think today's guest might be able to provide that and then some. Today's guest is Alex Rochon, a voice actor, editor, and content creator, best known for being the voice of Caine in the animated internet sensation, The Amazing Digital Circus. Alex is someone that I have been excited to get on this podcast. His performance as Caine alone had me ecstatic, and getting the chance to really meet him and then get to chat with him on this podcast, it's a dream come true. It was such a delight that I could not resist bringing on my fantastic co-showrunner, TipsyJHearts, to join along with me on this wacky, incredible conversation that you guys are going to love and enjoy today. If you enjoy Alex, please make sure you support him with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know, I see that stuff, it genuinely warms my heart. In fact, make sure you subscribe, because I am currently on the road to see if I get 2,500 subscribers by the end of 2024. If I hit that goal, I will be getting a tattoo as designed and decided by the community. So please subscribe today if you want to see me get tatted up for the first time with some wacky design you guys come up with. If you want to go a little further with that support for the podcast, may I recommend checking out the merch shop at fourthwall.com. There we have some amazing designs as done by some fantastic artists, including the brand new logo as done by Rochon Galaxy. So please check out that merch shop and look fantastic in that merch today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Thank you so much for doing this, in all sincerity.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, absolutely. It's one of those, I know me and Tipsy have been talking about trying to get you on at some point earlier on. I tried emailing you sooner, but getting the chance to, meet you at MomoCon and the fun interaction that we had there, it was so great.
I've got the bootlegs on, one of my shelves in our office. It's just... I collect weird, wacky bootleg stuff, so...
I'm intrigued. I have to know why. Why, is it just something that fascinates you, or,
It's always fascinated me. When I was a kid, the first ever Pokemon toys I ever owned were bootlegs. They were, what's it called? Old, little figurines. They were painted very badly, probably with lead.
Oh, yeah, probably, yeah. Basically makeshift vinyls before vinyls were a thing.
Mm-hmm. They were packaged in a thing that didn't say Pokemon, but Prodigy Pets.
Prodigy Pets?
With missile function.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, I don't know, and then, growing up, I remember a friend in elementary school had, one of those, Game Boy multi-carts, and that had a bootleg called Super Mario 4 on it.
Interesting.
And it was very weird, and, I don't know, just the world of unofficial video games has always fascinated me, so... unofficial anything.
Yeah, unofficial anything. I was gonna say, I know, growing up, I've gone to my fair share of, flea markets and stuff like that, so I've seen bootleg stuff throughout and such.
I love flea markets.
Yeah, right? I was gonna say, the bootleg merch that I got you whatnot, I found that at my local flea market, which is, from where we were, from where MomoCon was about, I don't know, an hour and a half away from where we were, so yeah.
Oh, so you're Georgia native?
Yes, I am Georgia native.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, as far as finding bootleg stuff at, flea markets goes, I can't find any Digital Circus stuff, and I have been looking.
The thing that scares me about that is one of those, like, not only was that like Digital Circus bootleg merch there, but it was also like there was also like Bluey bootleg merch. There was Skippity Toilet bootleg merch. Like,
oh no,
yeah, yeah.
Not me that you should be worried about.
By the way, Alex, this is my co-host and co-showrunner Tipsy. Tipsy, this is Alex Rochon, or is it Rochon or Rochon?
I pronounce it Rochon.
Rochon. Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that. But yeah, yeah.
Hello.
All right. No, but like I was saying, seriously, like ever since that little interaction at MomoCon or whatnot, I have been excited for this moment. So thank you once again for taking the time to do this. This really does mean a lot.
Hey, and again, no problem. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a really fun, and it was definitely one of the most fun interactions I think I had at MomoCon.
Just getting the bootleg merch from me.
Yes, like I had a lot of good interactions, and that was definitely one of the most memorable because, again, like for like all the months leading up to that, I had been seeing all this wacky bootleg shit from all these different sources, and I was like, I want this. I want this in my home. I can't find it anywhere. Why can't I find it?
And then the one person, just the one random fan, just comes up to me and just like, oh.
It was like a sacred lead-painted holy relic.
I still hold on to the fact that you called it your trash holy grail. I still hold that near and dear to this day.
What can I say? Sometimes one man's trash is another person's treasure.
I mean, to be fair, the main reason why I got the bootleg merch in the first place was just for the story of it, because I knew it was going to lead to a good story one way or another, whether it was to have you guys sign it or what eventually happened. Because whenever I initially showed Lizzie, and she was immediately just like, I don't know if I could sign this because like I get it, Gooseworks was there and like it felt wrong to like sign bootleg merch given everything that was going on. But like when that happened, that was just kind of like, I mean, this is a fun story and all, but I, as much as I like the bootleg merch of it, I'm not gonna appreciate it as much as you did in that moment when you first saw it and you like took the photo and everything. So I'm like, you know what? There's no one better to have this than you. So there you go.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now, Tipsy, when are we gonna get bootleg Evil Little Thing merch going?
I thought I have already started it.
Well, I mean, would you call this little thing bootleg? I mean,
technically bootleg.
So, sorry.
What's Evil Little Thing?
So, the Evil Little Thing is a indie animated series that Tipsy right here has actually created. Tipsy, if you want,
nice.
I think you would be better the one to explain it.
Oh, you put me on the spot? That's not fair.
It's your series.
You're my producer. You're supposed to do the work, all the work for me.
So, is it a bootleg, fan made, or? I wouldn't call fan-made stuff.
It is a indie animated series, so I wouldn't call it bootleg just yet.
Yeah. We're getting to there. But, so, basically, it's my little R-rated horror show. It's based off the 60s with these kind of like suburbia couple moving into this very fucked up town, and a very fucked up situation happens, and it involves a little demon goat named Nemo.
This is Nemo.
I like him. I like him.
If you understand why I called him Nemo, I would give you a cookie.
Well, I don't think I'm going to get that cookie.
Are you sure you don't want to take a wild guess? You don't want to take a grand wild guess? This is the adventure, Alex.
I mean, I could certainly try, but, like, I'm just trying to, like, Nemo. Like, Little Nemo or Captain Nemo? I don't understand how that has to do with goats.
Don't think goats, think demon.
You dare
don't think goats, think... Don't
you dare give him a hint.
All I just said is, don't think goats, think demon.
Oh, right, Baphomet. Or, like, goat demons. I'm sorry, this is...
Hey, it's perfectly fine. I didn't think she was gonna put you on the spot. Is it okay if I just tell him?
I'll tell him.
Okay.
Spell Nemo backwards.
Omen. Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, well.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I tried. I just noticed the Caine print behind you.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that you signed.
Yeah. What did I write on that again?
You wrote, Nathan, thank you, and then you signed it as in, like, thanking me for the bootleg merch.
That is definitely, like, I think I can see on your side, like, that it's, like, all caps. That is definitely something I would have done as a response to that.
I was also going to say, the main reason why I bought the print, other than obviously supporting you, is I don't know if I said it then, but the person that did that art, Jane Gumball, I've actually had on this podcast twice, so.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Oh, she's so good.
She is a fantastic artist. Have you seen the recent stuff she's been doing with, like, the My Little Pony stuff or whatnot?
I haven't. The most recent thing that I saw of hers was, like, fan art of Bill Cipher and Caine together.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've seen that.
I think I missed that one, which is disappointing for me.
I actually did a little dub of it. I did Bill in that as well, so...
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect. I definitely gotta look back and seek that stuff out. All right, Alex, before we really get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you, alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations, you're not stranded on a desert island. It's like your own personal, B&B away from society for a little bit.
Okay.
To make sure you don't go further insane on this island, you could bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
Probably the entire boxed set of Twin Peaks.
Oh, okay. You have piqued my curiosity. But in all seriousness,
okay.
But what was it about Twin Peaks that, like, that's the first thing you want to reach for? That's the one you want to bring with you?
Because it's got pretty much everything I value in media. It's like, it's funny, it's dark, it's horrifying at times, it's very tender and heartfelt, it's a good mystery. I just love it. It's a great show, and also it's got great music too. And I think music kind of helps, like it's a good sort of mood thing for me. It's good, like, additional noise in my brain. I like it. So
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think it should go without saying that, like, David Lynch really put out a really amazing, thought-provoking masterpiece at the end of the day. Whether it's that original series, the TV movie, or even the reboot, or, like, I guess continuation a few years back.
Yeah.
The Return, yes. I was gonna say, like, Tipsy, I don't know if you had anything to add when it comes to the Twin Peaks points or whatnot, but yeah.
Who, me? I actually never seen Twin Peaks.
Oh.
Do it.
It's worth it.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. But regardless, Twin Peaks, that is your answer. You're locking that in.
Yes.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, joined by my wonderful co-host for the day. Tipsy, would you like to introduce yourself to the folks at home?
Hi, I might be an issue later on in the show, but I'm an artist, animator, and... Oh, you don't want to know.
I'm scared now. But yeah, which I don't know if you had any more that you wanted to say, or.
Honestly, I'm an artist, animator. I'm your biggest problem. I'm a singer. I'm a Gemini, and that should be all.
That's the problem part, the Gemini part. No, I'm joking.
My dad's a Gemini. What the hell does that make him?
My mom's a Gemini, okay?
Oh no. Looks like we got a whole lot of problems on our hands.
Right, exactly. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You would look fantastic in the merch that we have at the merch shop. Go to fourthwall.com. The link to that will be in the description below. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a voice actor, editor, and content creator, best known for being the voice of Caine in the online sensation, The Amazing Digital Circus. Welcome to the podcast, the All-Tark of Flame, Alex Rochon!
Yeah!
Seriously going to outdo me like that?
I
can only be one!
I'll intro him.
Look, I'm sorry, but this is one of those, like, when I do my intro, I get in the zone. And I may sound a little bit like Caine, but I'm not trying to outdo the original, trust me.
No, if anything, like, I'm all for it. Like, not a bad impression either. I like it.
Oh, I pride myself on doing, like, at least a halfway decent Caine impression. Like, I've gotten... I had like I posted like a video of like some of the merch that I got recently or not too long ago when it comes to the Amazing Digital Circus, like legit one or whatnot, and someone took that video and like animated me as if it was Caine or whatnot. Just
oh, nice.
Just magic, mystery, wonder, da 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 da.
That is damn good.
That genuinely means a lot. It really does. But but thank you so much for taking the time to be here, Alex. I know
not a problem, Nathan.
I know I've already showered you a whole lot, like previously with the fun interactions that we have, and obviously the fun story about the bootleg merch at MomoCon, which I'm sure we'll talk about certain aspects of that and just the incredible work you've been able to do nowadays. But before we really divulge into that, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Alex. What got you interested in art and voice acting in the first place?
The best way I can describe it is, like, art, voice acting, like, I come from a very artsy household. Like, my parents, especially my dad, like, both are really into movies and such. Like, my mom loves, like, her books, poetry, art, a lot of things like that. My dad is a movie obsessive, basically. Like, everywhere I've lived, like, his basement is, or really the entire house, is lined with, like, movie posters, like vintage movie posters, like foreign movie posters, originals, giant one-sheets that are, like, almost, like, stretching from the top of the ceiling to the floor. Like, that's my dad. He loves his movie posters.
I can only imagine being surrounded in a household like that. Like the exposure to entertainment as a whole and the arts as a whole is really easy.
Oh, absolutely. And from there, I just kind of, as far as voiceover goes, I just kind of gravitated towards microphones for whatever reason. Like, I had this old Fisher-Price tape recorder back when cassettes were a thing, and, like, I would sometimes, like, record into that. Like, if there was, like, something I really liked on TV, like Power Rangers or Codename Kids Next Door, I'd, like, kind of mimic or, like, yeah, basically mimic, like, moments that I thought were cool or funny. And yeah, in grade 4, there was a Halloween play that our grade was putting on, and they wanted a Dracula-like character. So, naturally, I go up and audition with, the typical, I am Dracula, I'm here to suck your blood. And they got me in the part, and then from there, I just, like, went on to do YouTube videos where I used my voice. You mentioned the Autark of Flame. That's a whole different ballpark. In grade 12, I was in my high school's original musical. So
That matches up more than anything else. Just out of curiosity, I want to just take like a quick step back from what you're talking about, especially with some of like the movies and stuff that you were like exposed to early on. What were some of the like the first films or some of the first ones you really like gravitated towards? Like, I see, for example, in your background, I'm seeing like Star Wars, I'm seeing Monty Python. I didn't know how much of that was like ingrained early on.
Jeez, I'm thinking back to all the movies that I was, like, exposed to before maybe even the age of 4.
Oh, wow.
And, like, I had quite the eclectic bunch. I mean, Star Wars, my dad showed me when I was, like, I don't know, 3 or 4. I was, like, instantly hooked on that. Before that, though, there was, like, The Sound of Music I actually really liked.
Ooh.
What else? My dad, again, he loves classic cinema as well, and I remember watching, like, old silent Buster Keaton films like The General with him. And one of my favorite stories, though, is Disney's Fantasia. We had that on VHS, and I watched the goddamn dinosaur sequence, The Rite of Spring, so often, so much, that the tape broke.
Oh my god.
Just rewinding that same section over and over until it broke. We couldn't play it anymore.
So you're basically trying to tell us right now you're the reason why dinosaurs are extinct?
Yes.
Caine killed the dinosaurs. Put that all over the headlines everywhere.
Yes.
Fucking dinosaurs, guys.
That's incredible, especially hearing that like that love for movies also kind of led to like that kind of presence on in the stage or whatnot, like at least like the voice acting and all that kind of aspect or whatnot. What was it about like just performing in general or just acting in general that just like creatively gave you a rush?
Oh, I don't know, I just gravitated to microphones and like, I don't know, being wacky, being silly, embracing, like, the more lighthearted and eccentric parts of myself. I always really enjoyed that, and yeah.
I assume the wacky and eccentric part, you were able to really accentuate that whenever you devoted yourself to YouTube as well?
Yeah. Actually, I can answer another thing. I remember growing up, I watched a lot of game shows.
Oh.
Which is probably the least surprising thing in the world, given how Caine sounds.
That is true, and it also would not be the first time game shows get mentioned on this podcast. In fact, I brought on a game show expert by the name of Christian Carrion, who runs a Buzzer Blog, or is one of the people that runs Buzzer Blog, if you know about that website.
I don't.
That's fair. That's valid. No, but like I like hearing especially that like that love for game shows, especially bled to kind of the performative aspect that you have or whatnot. Like you said, it's probably the least surprising thing about this podcast so far.
Yeah.
Goodness. So like, I'm curious, I kind of mentioned it when it came to the YouTube or whatnot. When did YouTube more or less like start becoming a thing for you and something that you wanted to delve into?
Okay, that is a long story in and of itself.
We have the time.
Excellent. So, so you know how, like, when I did most of my YouTube videos, I liked ranking some of my favorite things from video games or movies or whatever, like in top 10 list form. I used to do that a lot just when I was alone at home, just like writing things in like journals and diaries, listing things in order. It was just like a random hobby I had. And then one summer, I was at a summer camp with a few friends, including someone who is one of my best friends to this day, named Ryan. And the bunch of us, like, as part of this like science camp, we worked with computers, and we ended up making like stop motion animation with claymation rather. And you can see some of the old claymations that we did, like as the earliest stuff on my YouTube channel. It is still there, and it is not all of it was by me. I kind of hijacked the channel from the person who originally created it.
How dare you? No.
I don't think they mind, otherwise they would have been like, what the fuck? But if someone out there is somehow like listening to this that was part of that, I apologize, but I don't know, like, so that happened, and I just really got a taste for making like videos and stuff, and eventually I decided, why not take my old list making hobby and like translate that to YouTube? And from there it just kind of spiraled. I got more sophisticated editing software, I started doing voiceovers for it, and progressed into more complicated acting, and that's in a way, that's how I got started with voiceover. A lot of years of practice doing narration, and even then, like, doing character acting was its own beast, which only really started taking off in, like, 2013, and even that didn't really get me anywhere for a while, so...
Yeah. I mean, I was
I'd
gonna...
go for a... Sorry, go on.
No, sorry. You finish your statement, then I'll ask my question.
I was just gonna say, like, again, this is a long history with, like, my time with video editing, with voiceover, how that all just kind of, like, dominoes down and gets to where I am today. There's so much I could dissect.
Oh, I can only imagine. I was gonna say, like, even then when I was doing like my research, like, first off, one of the things that amazed me right off the bat is the fact that your YouTube channel, you've had that since 2007, which is something that amazed me which amazed me right off the bat, especially considering the fact that YouTube's only been around since 2005. So you were basically like almost right there with the start of YouTube when it comes to your stuff.
The summer camp was in 2007 when I was 14.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Thanks for making me feel
I wasn't even in like, literally just the next month I went into high school.
I'll say, Tipsy, you look shocked.
Like,
bro, I don't think I would, like, how old was I in 2007?
Date of birth? Or year of birth?
I was going to say, well, I was going to say, so we would have, like, you and me, except for fact we had the same year and whatnot, we would have been 11 years old. When
oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I feel old.
Oh yeah, I already discovered what YouTube was at that age.
Like, just to give you an idea of what was like, what the pop culture zeitgeist at that time was, like, in 2007, while we were making those claymation videos in that summer camp, Potter Puppet Pals was the big thing.
Oh my God.
I don't know if anyone remembers the Impossible Quiz, but we were, like, constantly in between, like, assignments, like, trying to figure out that old chestnut for the first time, and... Oh my God, I miss early YouTube, back when it was so weird and innocent.
Yes, absolutely. Back whenever it wasn't all focused on algorithm and all the BS that has kind of made it what it is today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't talk to me about innocent. Early YouTube was not innocent.
Well, innocent in the sense that, like, it's just, like, it's pure, like, unfiltered, like, creativity. That kind of innocent. It was raunchy as hell at points. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. So I'm curious, like, from the way you're talking about it, especially like with those early YouTube days, was that more or less like the moment it went from just like a general love and appreciation for, you know, movies and acting and all stuff like that to a passion and wanting to make it your career? Like, when did that kind of like light switch hit for you?
You know, that's that's pretty much the exact connection, because through high school, I was really like, I thought for a while I wanted to go into, like, the sciences, and eventually I found that physics and chemistry were, like, just kicking my ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, you know what? I could keep making videos right now. I like the creativity more, and that's just kind of where I ended up. And by the end of high school, I was applying for film and media programs across the country, and I ended up making it into university for film and media.
That's incredible to hear at the end of the day. It makes me also curious, like, especially starting out, like, what were some of the first opportunities you had, like, you know, whether in college or even past college, when it comes to some of the acting or voice acting opportunities where, like, it kind of was like the moment of like, wow, I'm actually doing the thing that I wanted to do.
Well, when it came to editing, I didn't really have terribly many opportunities in university. I did cut together, like, a few, like, short student films, but it didn't really take off as much as I'd hoped as a career. Mm-hmm. Though it is something that I do freelance a lot. And my experience with, like, editing software and audio software has really carried me into jobs that did last longer.
That's good to hear. I was gonna say, like, it's funny that you mentioned the editing aspect, because I was gonna mention that, but you said freelance has led to interesting opportunities. One of the opportunities that I saw, and I was just like, wait, you actually do that? You edit clips for Dr. Crafty?
I did.
Yeah.
For a while. Like, yeah, I edited a bunch of his videos in his 4th season.
Okay.
And yeah, like, my favorite thing to edit was the last episode he ever put out, I think, was themed around the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I edited that one, and there was this whole sequence where it was basically the time warp, and they're just playing that song, and things get crazy. Like, a bunch of random wacky shit is going on screen, and Crafty just said, all right, dude, just, like, go full ham, go nuts, do whatever you want. And I just put in a lot of random vignettes of, like, the character models just, like, on screen, like, moving around, going in weird situations. At one point, like, I actually tied a thing into the Dungeons and Dragons campaign that I run at home.
Oh, wow.
Because, as it happens, you know who Pepper is in Dr. Crafty, right?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Oh, well, Pepper was a major character on the Dr. Crafty show, like one of his assistants.
Okay.
Like, she was like the cook. And she's basically like this giant, like, octopus lady, and she's very sweet and, like, wholesome and charming. And what's funny is her artist and the creator of Pepper, Brandon Lacey, on Twitter as Blue Paint C. He's a very close friend of mine, and he's in my D&D campaign as one of my players.
Okay.
And we actually decided, what if he plays as Pepper? So Pepper is in the game as, like, her own homebrewed race and class. Like, she plays as a cook. And at one point, Pepper was, like, our party was fighting a vampire, and Pepper got the killing blow with a trident.
Yes!
Like this innocent, like, wholesome, sweet woman who wouldn't hurt a fly slayed a vampire with a trident. So, in this, like, wacky time warp sequence in that episode of Dr. Crafty, I had it so that, like, Dracula wanders on screen at one point and gets, like, yeeted off screen with a trident, and Pepper walks on, and she's just like, oh, geez, what did I just do? Before slinking off.
What did you roll just to have Pepper slay that damn vampire?
Yeah.
What did you roll?
What did I roll?
Yeah.
I forget. That was so long. Like, it was just her doing a regular attack roll against this vampire, and it just so happened that that attack was enough to get the vampire down to 0 HP.
Well, there you go. hey, if it's effective, it's effective, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Dr. Crafty, like, shoutouts to him. We still play D&D together in another campaign.
Oh, that's cool.
That we're in.
I was gonna say I've known about Dr. Crafty because I'm fairly solid within the VTuber space or whatnot. So like right. Yeah, like for example, I don't know if you ever heard of like Eldritch Grandpa or Rukiki, Dockleton, some of the names like that. But
I have plenty of those.
Interesting. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll say
Crafty and I go way back.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Like, I have known him since 2013.
Goodness. All right. I could tell that 2013 was certainly like a big year for you. I imagine that, like, because you had said that was a point to where like YouTube was kind of like starting to work for you a little bit in a way. Like, correct me if I'm wrong.
It was more around when I started really getting into voice acting, like characters and stuff.
Okay.
And Crafty was actually tied into that. He had an idea for a video game, which unfortunately fell through, called Fiona Frightening and the Wicked Wardrobe.
Oh, wow.
And I was set to play the main antagonist in that, which would have been fun if it actually happened, but sometimes, like, when you're starting in the indie scene, like, ambition can really take the helm, and sometimes things aren't always realistic, and it's a shame, but he seems to be having a lot of success with VTubing these days, and
Yes.
I could not be happier for him.
I mean, absolutely. But it also makes me curious, like, especially for you, because in fact that was like an opportunity or whatnot. When it comes to like YouTube back then, especially back then, I was curious because I mentioned it in the intro or whatnot. Correct me if I'm wrong, the Altark of Flame or whatnot. How did that more or less?
Oh, jeez.
How did that persona come to be, more or less?
That persona came about because I was 16 years old, played Final Fantasy IV, and saw the villain Rubicante, and thought his epithet of the Autarch of Flames sounded cool. So it's like, why don't I like call like my YouTube videos like Autarch of Flame Productions or things like that? It didn't really have much meaning other than like me thinking it sounded cool and just like thinking that was gonna be like who I was gonna be forever. Like, it's not a phase, Dad.
I mean, it certainly left an impression on some. Again, I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that'd be fun just to bring up more than anything else. So, but, okay, let's get past the Altark of Flame. But, like, as you said, like, the more you kind of went on to YouTube, the more you got to express yourself with kind of character acting and such. What were some of the character acting, like, starting out that, like, you truly embraced and, like, really let loose on the world? Because I can only imagine, especially with the voice you've been able to provide for certain things or whatnot, I can only imagine some of the fun you've been able to have and some of the chaos you could pursue when you embrace certain characters.
Okay, so again, I would only really say that I started with voice acting seriously in around 2013, which was, again, when Fiona Frightening kind of rose and fell. But I did kind of carry that interest with me for a while. I kind of did a few like cameos and things for friends of mine, doing voices for them. And then in 2018, a few interesting little happenstances occurred. Someone sent a casting call out on Twitter for a Fortnite machinima, which I applied for and ended up playing in that for a while as like a ton of different characters. And interestingly, that is where I met Amanda Hufford.
Really?
Who plays Ragathai.
Yeah, who plays
in the Amazing Digital Circus.
The good old voice of Ragathai right here.
The true lesbian.
That's where they and I met. And it was like, we'd kind of been aware of each other for a while. Like, they worked on my voice demo eventually. Like, we were all just kind of like sharing in each other's successes over that time. And
good.
It was a good start. And then another thing happened in 2018, which is too insane not to share.
I'll say, I think I know where this is going, but I'll let you be the one to tell this story.
Okay, so in 2018, like a few weeks before like my fiance and I are about to go on a trip to Florida, my voiceover mentor Rory messages me with a potential opportunity to voice a few characters in a pipe safety program for the neighboring city of Hamilton, Ontario. Basically, this was a sort of, again, a pipe safety program where it's like, here are the things that you can and cannot flush down a toilet. Like, you can't throw baby wipes down a toilet. You can't throw tampons down there. And how do they convey this? But through, like, little animated shorts of knights defending the throne. I was cast as one of those knights. Sir Richard the Turd.
I can't believe I missed this in my research.
I can't believe I'm hearing this live.
Oh, it gets better.
Go on.
Because in those same videos, there was also a moment where I also got a chance to play a few little baby pieces of poop called turdlings.
And I kind of did a very sweet little voice like this.
Stop it.
I am not making any of this shit pun absolutely intended.
I am looking this up.
Yeah, just look up on YouTube, Own Your Throne.
I'm going to look this up. Own Your
See,
Own Your Throne, Hamilton.
See, I'm not gonna lie. When you had mentioned like around that time or whatnot, my first thought is that was around the time you started taking up the little bits as Spamton, like doing a little voice over stuff for that.
That was 2011. That was 2021.
2021. Okay, I'm jumping a little too far ahead. My bad.
Oh, but it's actually real. I'm seeing the turd links right now.
I told you.
What the hell am I looking at?
Tipsy, please.
Read it and weep.
I say, Tipsy, please do me a favor. Send me that video so I can make sure that I can get screen caps of that and put that in this in the video version of the podcast.
You want to?
No, I do.
You absolutely do.
I absolutely.
This is integral to the lore. And the funniest thing is, this was the first character that I ever saw, like, out in the wild. Like, at Con Bravo 2019, in the same city this was made for, Hamilton, I went to the bathroom once, and there was a poster promoting this campaign in the bathroom.
No.
Putting my resignation for this podcast.
Oh, and actually, I just remembered a few extra things that make this whole ordeal even better.
Go on.
So, the biggest coincidence of all time happens when I'm recording this bit. One of my directors is someone who used to work with my mother at one of her jobs with the government.
Okay, then. Elaborate.
Like, they used to work together in municipal government in a neighboring city, and then he eventually, I guess, moved on to another city to do a similar line of work.
Okay.
And he ends up on this project called Own Your Throne, and he ends up one of my voice directors. He remembers me. He remembers me from when I was a kid. He painted my bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Again, I am not making a word of this up.
I don't know if I want to be in this podcast.
No, you want to be in this one because this is the greatest story to ever be told on this podcast, hands down.
It's not over. It's not over.
It's not over.
What?
Because to end this whole thing off, the cherry on top, this project, Own Your Throne, won an award for government communications. It was seen as an actual effective campaign at teaching people how to take care of toilets and pipes.
This is the greatest story I have ever heard, Alex.
I got paid to play talking pieces of poop in an award-winning campaign for toilet safety.
So
that
we
is
went.
a badge of honor.
So you're telling me we went from little pieces of dookie to like a ringmaster?
Yes.
That, I'd say, forget everything else I was going to talk about. That's got to be your crowning achievement, right? The fact that you got to be part of an award-winning government PSA as literal pieces of poop.
Okay, so guys, how much do you know about the weird world of Canadian PSAs?
I feel like I've been like introduced to them occasionally, but not really. Like not as much as I'd like to. Have you ever heard?
I was introduced to Total Drama Island. Does that count?
Well, it's definitely weird and Canadian, so. I mean, have you ever heard of this this old commercial called the North American House Hippo?
Can't say I have.
Have you ever heard of Don't You Put It in Your Mouth?
I feel like I've heard that phrase before.
Well,
I've done it before.
Basically, like, Canadian public service announcements are notoriously weird, terrifying, funny, like, it just, if you go down that rabbit hole, you'll be there forever. And my point is that I'm technically now, like, immortalized in that kind of like sphere of just weird public service announcements made in my home country. That is as big an honor as being Caine.
Wait.
Sorry, go on, Tipsy.
You're Canadian?
Yeah. You just now realize this?
Oh my god.
Toronto born and raised.
There you go.
Oh my god.
I am the only main cast member in Digital Circus that isn't American.
Yeah, you have a good point with that. Yeah. Which is like, that's insane on its own, but like, I definitely got to ask my buddy Trey later on just to be like, you've got to show me some of these Canadian PSAs because they just sound insane. Especially hearing this story.
Just you wait.
Oh.
We grew up on public service announcements like that throughout the early and late 90s. Like, that was injected into our bloodstream. Like, every cartoon we watched, every like commercial breaks would have those PSAs all the time.
I mean, I'm used to. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've been exposed to some of the American PSAs as well, like the obviously the like the anti-drug ones. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
Quack.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, these are on a similar level to that. I don't know if they're quite as. Actually, you know what? Yes, they are as insane. I just remembered, like, this terrifying PSA from the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, which is a Canadian company that my mother used to work for.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, public service announcements in that era were insane. I'm
just amazed, shocked, and all this kind of stuff when it comes to that.
I'm just taking all this in, man.
This must be a lot. I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what?
No. Don't speak. You say you're sorry or you're sorry.
Hey, come on, Tipsy.
Yeah.
Never paid attention to how I pronounce certain words, but apparently some people say I have an accent.
I look, Tipsy's apparently better at, because I didn't notice if you were saying an accent or whatnot. You sounded very clear to me.
You.
Let's get back to the conversation. No, you're perfectly fine. You are perfectly fine. Going back to the conversation, I know I kind of jumped ahead at this little topic or whatnot, but I imagine along this, this sort of chaos and doing like, character voice acting and stuff like that, you found the time to really put a name to claim when it comes to your, a certain fun character that people just cannot get enough of, especially when they see him just talking about the big time and stuff like that. When did you become aware of Spamton, and why did you decide to embrace that character and do some voice acting stuff with him?
Okay, that is another fun story. Like, back at my old job, like, I distinctly remember, like, in between broadcasts when I was, like, I used to work at for a major network that was like had me employed for doing subtitles, and I would do live broadcasts where I'd be subtitling along with like certain programs they were doing. And I remember like in between broadcasts, like watching the live stream for like one of the Deltarune anniversary things, and like I found out during that live stream that Chapter 2 was going to be released that same evening. Mm-hmm. So I rush home afterwards, and I play Chapter 2, like, as soon as it comes out. I am playing this through just the hours of the evening. And, like, I'm getting very tired, kind of exhausted, but I am determined to play through the whole chapter, and, like, only then can I go to sleep. And, like, during this whole thing, I see Spamton, and I'm like, oh, this guy is kind of funny and weird. And then, like, maybe it'd be fun to do a voiceover thing of him. I wake up the next morning and I'm like, is that character real? And, like, I'm just like, okay, I guess this is what this character was. I guess I'll do a voice dub of this and just see what happens. And then it blew up.
I like looking through some of your Spamton stuff or whatnot. I could easily see why it blew up, because not only was it just a good voice in the first place or whatnot, it really embraced just how weird of a character Spamton was.
Oh yeah.
Like, I can only imagine for you how interesting it was for you to embrace such a character.
Yeah. I just kind of... I don't even really have, like, a process behind how I voiced Spamton. I was just like, okay, this character was funny. I'm just gonna, like, do what I think sounds right for him. And it just kind of went from there. He kind of took a life of his own.
I'll say I can only imagine how amazed you are to see kind of the life it kind of created on its own.
I mean, that was the most popular thing I'd ever posted on my Twitter feed, and it, I think, like, within weeks, doubled my follower count. Even after all the holdovers from my YouTube days, which, for what that's worth. And then, apparently it spread far enough for Gooseworks to see that, and the rest is history, I guess.
Well, that, I guess, since you did mention it, I guess that does kind of lead into one of the big things I definitely wanted to talk about with today's episode. And like I lovingly made sure to emphasize in the intro, you are the amazing, wonderful voice that is providing the wacky, insane, out of this world AI known as Caine for the Amazing Digital Circus.
I think he's a bit overrated.
Just a tad, but I mean, everyone has their opinions. No, but like, in all seriousness, so correct me if I'm wrong, but from what you're telling me, was doing the Spamton voice what more or less led you to become Caine? Like, how did the opportunity of Caine come to you?
That's basically it. I put out Spamton. I got a message like a half year later from Jasmine from Glitch Productions.
Okay.
She's the production manager there, and they mentioned that they're developing this show. They have a character that is, like, basically, like, the kind of Spamton voice that I do, and they wanted to see if I'd be interested in them, so I auditioned for that, and it was the most agonizing wait of my life, because it was, like, it was around my birthday when I recorded that. Then I'm going into work for a few days. I think I might have been working the day before my birthday. Sorry, I'm sidetracking. Then I went on a trip out of town just for like a nice little beach trip, and I get no response even though it's past the due date.
Okay.
So I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm not getting this part. And I'm like, okay, I'm the voice match for this character. I'm listed in the audition thing as, why don't we just reach out to this guy for the character? And I'm like, okay, if I didn't get this part, if someone beat me at my own game, then I might as well quit voiceover right here. And then, like, one day I'm just at work, I've pretty much forgotten about it. And then I get the email saying that I've been cast, and I, like, just loudly, like, yelp it in the middle of work, praying that nobody heard me.
Oh, I can... Hearing the euphoria that you had in that moment it's such a heartwarming thing to hear. Like, especially like you said, they basically pinned you as the one that they wanted. I guess, just going through like formalities or whatnot, just to get to that point to where they can officially say, "All right, Alex, get in here. We need you, buddy."
Basically. Take over here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, although I have heard from some of my castmates like Marissa and Lizzie that it does happen where you can be the voice match for something and still not get the role, because they might find someone who maybe had a take that they were like, you know what, this isn't what I expected, but I kind of want to go with that.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily an indicator that you're better or worse. It's just, I guess I really was the best match.
I mean, I'm glad I can certainly say, at least with what we've been able to see from Caine in the Amazing Digital Circus, I cannot imagine any other person providing that voice. Like, I could try to do my best to do like the silly dub version or whatnot, but like, you really do a great job like encapsulating that character and really providing like the silliness and the wackiness and just the range of emotions you bring with Caine, I cannot get enough of. Like, I'm curious for you, like, what is like more or less the mental process for you for like getting into like I guess the headspace of Caine, or I guess the teeth space of Caine in this case? Like, what is it like for you to really like get into that character?
I'll be real, it's not hard because I am I am kind of naturally like very loud and exuberant. That's probably been made very clear, especially to the audience. Like, this man is like yelling about how he played a piece of poop a few years ago, and he's proud of it, and he's like so happy about it. Like, this is just Caine in a lot of ways. Just kind of is a slightly more exaggerated version of who I am. Like,
it's a more unhinged version of who you are at this point.
Oh, absolutely more unhinged.
I mean,
it's like,
sorry, go on.
In a lot of ways, like, he kind of encapsulates a lot of like my desire to entertain and perform, give people a smile or a laugh. And there's also a lot more to the character that you'll be seeing in coming episodes that I also really, really deeply empathize with.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, especially like I said, just like what little bit of like range of emotions or like the scenarios he's been able to like tackle so far or whatnot. Like, if that's just a taste of what we could expect, it makes me excited to see, like, especially if the digital circus becomes more chaotic, like how exactly is Caine gonna be one to have to like deal with that issue in one way or another, or like you said, like the range of emotions that they have to like deal with when it comes to that stuff.
You'll be seeing him in some pretty surprising directions, I'll say that much.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I haven't recorded the whole series yet, but
that is true. That is true. But I was also gonna say, like, I feel like, you know, we already kind of emphasized it when it came to Spamton, but like, was there any sort of like other inspiration for like how you more or less like play the character? Like, I know you were talking about, you know, game shows being a major thing for you. I can imagine some of the early movies that you were exposed to. Like, what are some of the inspirations for your performance for Caine?
Basically that, yeah. Like, I gravitate to a lot of like very like over the top and hammy kind of performances, like be it your announcers in game shows or like the over the top villains and monsters in something like Power Rangers. I grew up with a lot of cartoons, and I remember seeing like, I actually just watched a panel from 2016's MomoCon featuring Ben Diskin and Cree Summer talking about their experiences on Codename Kids Next Door.
Right.
And they basically commented that they like oftentimes like had to really take care of their throats afterwards because like they had to do a lot of shouting and like battle cries and stuff. And that was one of my favorite shows growing up. So like a lot of like that energy and like emphasis and eccentricity, I think, really carries into how I play a lot of characters, not just Caine.
Especially with how like wacky and imaginative and over the top that show in particular was. Like, look at the villains alone that they had to deal with or whatnot, you know?
Yeah.
I'm curious because like I know you said you have like I can only imagine there's so much you can reveal, but I know at least with with the first two episodes alone, I can only imagine you've had a lot of fun with like those lines and really being able to perform the character or whatnot. Do you have a personal favorite line or a personal favorite like moment as Caine?
I mean, the moment as I was recording that very first episode that made me die laughing in the middle of my closet recording booth was, what do you think of Because it's like, I could see, as I was reading the script, that joke unfolding, and I was like, oh my god, this is going where I think it is. I'm going to have to say phonetically. And that killed me.
Oh, that's great.
That's a favorite. Why are you like this? Like, I forgot that I had said that line. And just watching that play out in the episode, I thought was hilarious. And then another favorite line that one of my friend Ryan, who I mentioned earlier, like, mentions quite a bit is, "Oh, Bubble, you always know how to make me say this exact sentence."
Yes, that's always a fantastic line on its own. I gotta say, going back to the why are you like this? Like, not just that line, but like, it's moments like that I especially love with Caine. Like, obviously there's like the big over the top, announcer type that everyone loves.
Yeah,
but like, but like the moment that like he more or less like pulls back his like over the topness and it sounds like more like a legit human or whatnot. Like, that's some of my favorite moments as Caine. There's that I'll say there's that in episode 2, the moment where like he's about to push the other people like out the doors, like, come on, go to the candy vat. Like, he's stuttering as he's pushing them.
Yes,
out.
that was real, by the way. I was actually struggling with that line. And they were just like, Goose, while I was being directed, was just like, you know what? We're keeping that.
I was gonna ask about that because, like, when I was listening to it, like, I couldn't help but laugh. I'm like, there's no way this is how they wanted to play. Like, this had to be like one of the takes that they just like. It was funny how it was delivered.
Was that for like improv?
No, it was in the script. I just had trouble saying the line, so I was just like, you know what? Let's just include the stutter. It makes it more authentic.
It does. It really does. And again, like, I heard that and I'm just like, there's no way that was like what they play. And now hearing that, like, my thought is confirmed. I love that even more. I love, yeah. I think that's just one thing I really do appreciate when it comes to this series is that, like, it's not a perfect series in any way. Like, any like little things like that could be included in there, and it just makes it a more fun and authentic experience to, like, watch and go through. I can only imagine for you, like, actually being in that world and seeing all these scenarios like playing out, it has to be just a wild ride to even consider being, in the same sentence as this series.
I mean, it is weird, like, being, like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to formulate, like, my thoughts right now, because it is such a unique series, and I can also say that's weirdly played into, like, how I play Caine, because oftentimes, like, I mean, most of the time, all the time I record, like, alone with Goose. Only recently we've started doing table reads as well, but even then that's not, like, the final recording. But when, like, I'm recording alone in particular, like, I don't get to see everyone else's reactions, and I don't even read the full script. So, just, it kind of adds to this feeling that Caine's, like, in his own little world, and he's very disconnected from everything. So, just, like something like the Candy Kingdom might sound like completely normal to him, but it's just like everyone else is just like, Caine, what the hell is this?
It's like, Caine, can we just, like, go to, I don't know, the DMV or something, like something normal?
You picked the DMV.
The DMV. That sounds fun.
See? Look, Caine's AI, all right? He hears letters and he's just like, okay, that works well in the algorithm.
Would Caine even know what a DMV is?
He'd probably think it's like an extension for a file or something. Adventure.dmv!
Oh, that's great. And I can only imagine on top of that, like seeing all these scenarios playing out, like, I can only imagine how wild it is for you to see how everyone has kind of just clinged on to, like, Caine and, like, absolutely love this series to pieces. Like, is it amaze you the reception that the Amazing Digital Circus has had?
it has been beyond anything I have ever imagined. Like, I mean, I knew that Glitch, based off its previous shows, had a base.
Yeah.
And a pretty, like, consistent and loyal one. Especially with, like, Murder Drones being out and very new at the time, and also SMG4 being its own can of worms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I did not expect Digital Circus to blow up the way it did. Like, by the time, like, mere weeks after it premiered, like, my fiance and I were about to go on a trip to California, and literally when we arrived at LAX, it hit 50 million views.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, expecting, like, 5 million tops? But I guess, I mean, this is the era of mascot horror. I guess people really do like the colorful characters going into horrific scenarios.
I think what's also cool is to think of it like you just landed in California, in LAX, and it hit 50 million, and then it kept growing, which is the thing that was even more surprising. Like, I forget how many views it has up to this point. Like, was it like 500 million or something like that, or
it's I believe like just under 350 million.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Like, especially in today's like space, to where like. So it'd be amazing for any YouTuber to have a video hit that level of viewership. Like this unique series that for some people just came out of nowhere, really like garnered an audience immediately. And especially like I said, loving these absolute characters, quoting the stuff over and over and over again, and seeing people like taking like stuff that you've done or voices that you've done and like adding their own little spin, or like doing,
drawing animations of it, like making memes of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that.
I remember not too long after the thing is Tipsy. I remember you did a little dancing meme with like Caine, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, that's little like. Yeah,
I might have seen that. Could you share that later?
Oh yeah, I totally can. Like, it's just Caine like dancing, and he's like glitching out, and he's like da 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 da.
Nice.
He's doing that throughout the entire time.
But like even like past that, like you got Tipsy doing that stuff. Like you got artists, like I said, doing all sorts of different animations, voice actors doing their own little spin on it. One of my favorite interactions is the whole entire, Caine, are we robbing a bank? No, Pomni, we're adventuring a bank. Keep up.
Like that. Like, I was talking just a second ago about when we hit 50 million. I recorded those lines literally the night before I left for California. And so I'm like at the ass crack of dawn, like at the airport, seeing like how it was just uploaded with my lines that I did maybe the night before, just eclipsing anything I'd ever posted on Twitter. And just like, oh my god, people love that meme, and I do not blame them, because the animation, just like Lizzie did an incredible job too of just selling like the sheer absurdity and horror of everything.
Like Lizzie's performance, your performance, the original like comic for it, and then the person like doing the animation for it as well. Like very well done, very smooth, more than anything else. Like, and like. For you, I emphasized before, like not just the immediate reaction, but like being able to go to these conventions and people showcasing that love in one way or another. Like, I can only imagine how insane that is, especially considering what we know about the Amazing Digital Circus going forward. Especially considering the fact that there's only gonna be like one season of this thing, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, it's 9 episodes and that's it.
Which is insane to think about, but also like I completely understand from Gooseworks' aspect of.
Like,
she has her story, she wants to tell it a certain way. So like for you, knowing that you only have a limited amount of time to really like portray this character, like I can only imagine how near and personal this character has more or less become to you now. So the fact that
absolutely.
And like I said, with the reception you got so far, but also like how limited of a time you technically have officially with the character.
It's like Caine is absolutely just like my breakout part, and he's gonna be someone that I carry with me forever. And I have so much respect for Goose for sticking to her guns.
Yes.
And telling the story that she wants without having to feel any pressure to make, like, as many endless seasons as the studio mandates, or worse yet, being canceled before, like, she's fully able to tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
And just, God, it's just like indie animation and that kind of creative freedom is it's so wonderful to see that kind of success take off. And the thing is about that, it's not easy to do. And ideally, the studios that make most of the mainstream animation would allow that creative freedom, but that's not always the case because, you know, money talks, and studios are gonna studio, capitalism gonna capitalism.
Yep. So. Yes. Which, with that being said, I'm also going to say right now, hashtag stand with animation, specifically the fact that a lot of the animators are striking right now.
Hashtag stand with animation.
Absolutely.
Hashtag animation.
And now in an odd transition from that little moment, I think with all the stuff I've asked with Caine, Tipsy, I know you said you had a couple of fan questions when it comes to Caine. I'm curious what you were able to dig up because this scares me.
Well, I was going to say... Don't be terrified. I mean, we've talked about worse things on this podcast now.
You can't tell me Richard the Turd is not a peak moment, the peak thing to talk about, okay?
You are going to speak in my office after this.
How dare you impugn the honor of Richard the Turd?
There you go.
Oh boy. All right, so first fan question comes from this lovely fan named Cass. Question for Alex. Do you have a favorite Digital Circus fan song or project that you've lent your voice to?
Oh. In terms of fan songs, like... God. I mean, Digital Land by Kyle Al... a marvel just for, like, how well animated it is. It's like a full 3D cartoon in its own right.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, Digital Hallucination is another classic. I was lucky enough to have met Oreo briefly at MomoCon this year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. So another question from this person named they go by Emmy, but they also go by Rags. Let me see. They want to know what's been the most fun and what's been the biggest challenge when it comes to voicing Caine.
The most fun with voicing Caine. Is it too much of a cheat to say all of it? Because I don't know. I there has never been a dull moment voicing this character. I love his, like, wackier moments, and I love delving into, like, the more, like, the moments where he breaks kayfabe, basically, and is a little more serious, or, like, getting into, like, his more deeper feelings about things. I can't really say there's too much difficult, other than the fact that because he's kind of shouty, I have coughed a few times in the booth.
That's valid.
Uh-oh.
That's
valid.
Also, I gotta say, as a wrestling fan, I appreciate you using the term kayfabe there. It's magnifique.
Hey.
Next question from Woofsters. They say they have a fun question. So what do you think Caine's reaction would be if he were meeting a fan in your interpretation?
He'd probably just, like, go full ham on the questions. Who are you? What do you like? And just, like, kind of hounding them almost a little invasively.
feel like he's like one of those, one of those like crazy survey questions, like, who are you? Where are you from? What is your blood type? Like the actual like type of questions.
Yeah, he'd probably just like get very much in their face, and they'd be like, "Get out of my way! You're made of teeth. You're weird."
Yeah, I forgot about that.
What is Caine's dental routine, if I have to ask?
Yeah, you know what? That's important. That's an important question.
He scrubs his eyes twice a day.
Very good.
Not his teeth.
I say it because it's frustrating.
Alex, I cannot tell you how much I have grown to love and appreciate you the more we've had this conversation.
Same to you both. This has been so entertaining.
I feel like I'm struggling just like Palm. Now I understand what she's going through.
Oh my god.
When
you put it like that, I am so sorry.
Next question. So this is from Late to the Fandom. They're asking, do you have any favorite ship besides the one fan ship called Bluetooth?
Damn it, I was gonna say Bluetooth.
That's your favorite. That's totally Gucci Gang.
I mean, like, there is that. Crap! I actually had like a document written on my old phone that had like that listed like every ship possible.
Oh. And
like kind of giving my thoughts on it, like kind of in a like what your ship says about you kind of thing.
Okay.
But
I will say,
I
will say Bluetooth is a very good answer, especially the art that came out from that alone. I mean,
oh yeah. What are some other good ones though? I think I like the ship of Pomni and Ragatha.
Yeah.
Just because that has big like enemies to lovers kind of thing. Like you love the tension between the two of them. It's like, oh, she doesn't like me, Baka.
You see,
this works. If you are listening to this, I am so sorry.
First,
I know you are not focused on the ships. Pardon me.
She's pointing out that he said sorry. No, I will say though, Gooseworks, if you are watching this, first off, you're more than welcome to hop on the podcast. We would love to have you on to talk about this stuff. But secondly, come on, you can't help but love this response. Now I'm just now is only a matter of time before after this episode gets released that someone's gonna animate you just going like, she doesn't like me, Baka. That's gonna be a Caine animation. I know it is.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe one day someone is gonna catch Caine using a Canadian accent for like freaking sorry, and someone's gonna be like, "How are you saying it again? Repeat those words again."
My name's Canadian Caine, eh? Today we're gonna get some maple syrup. Ah.
Go for a rip.
Oh, again, like I said before, I have so much love and respect for you the more we talk, all right?
Oh, well, thank you. You guys are great.
We're here for the adventure.
So am I.
Oh my. Fandom question number, I lost count.
It was like 4 or 5.
I believe so. They are asking. Oh, and this is from Vinny. Is there? Hold on, I have to use my glasses for this one. Okay, is there a specific kind of fan art of the character that you have voiced that you're more drawn to? Do you like the serious stuff? Do you like the goofy stuff? Are you a little bit of both?
Yes.
Valid response.
I mean, I like every type of Caine art if it speaks to me. Like, there's been, like, kind of creepy Caine art where, like, I remember there was this one I saw where, like, it was kind of dark and Caine kind of looked like he was, like, a puppet master of sorts. But I you know what, if you had to twist my arm, I would say I just like the wackier animations where Caine is just being a goober. Like, there's one animation where he's just kind of doing the monkey.
Yes! I think I know exactly the one you're talking about.
I shared that on my profile on Twitter. You can find it if you look at my media.
You mean the one where he's like going like this and like this, like the bird is the word dance?
Something like that, yeah.
That's from my friend Dandy.
Yes!
Yes!
That was Dandy.
I was say Dandy, aka another person we've also previously had on this podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, fantastic person. Really, if people out there, if you have not seen his art,
Dandy stuff is great.
Absolutely.
I love that son of a bitch named Dandy. I'm gonna bully him after this podcast now.
Oh no.
Good.
All right, let's see. So I believe you answered this question, but feel free to answer it again, or if you haven't, answer it anyway.
Okay.
What would you say is your favorite part about voice acting? Oh, and this is from a question from a fan named Lonnie.
Okay.
My favorite part of doing voice acting is, like, I don't know, like, you know, I think with animation or video games, things like that, where it's not necessarily realistic, although there are more realistic video games, especially with, like, mocap and such.
Mm-hmm.
I like just being able to voice stuff that you can't see anywhere else. That's weird, that's new, that's able to communicate ideas and tell new stories and communicate abstract feelings and just do it very weirdly. Like your Spamtons or your Richard the Turds or your Caines. I just like... Honestly, I just like voicing weird gremlins. It just gives me joy to just cause mischief and entertain people with it.
I am noticing this is a pattern with you.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Keep up that pattern. You're doing a great job.
I ain't stopping anytime soon.
Good.
Good.
Sorry, go on, Tipsy.
No, please.
No.
Ladies first.
I was gonna ask, how many more questions did you have?
Well, that's enough from the fans. Now, from yours truly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Important question.
Okay.
Would you say Caine's favorite theme park is that Canadian theme park that you guys have with the moose mascot? I don't remember what's the name of it, but you guys have that one theme park there. It's like the Six Flags.
Would that... Because I don't recall them having a moose for a mascot. I don't know, because...
I think you clicked out. What did you just say?
Are you talking about Canada's Wonderland by chance?
Yep.
That is so weird, because I don't recall them having a moose for a mascot. I used to go there all the time as a kid, and, I mean, they do a lot of, like... It's gone through so many changes over the years that, for all I know, there could be a moose for a mascot now.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It might be just my wild imagination or something, because I've only been there one time, and I could have sworn I saw a moose, or maybe I'm delusional.
Well, I mean, I think Caine would love it. He'd probably scream obnoxiously on, like, roller coasters or things like that. You'd think he just wherever he is, he'd probably just be having the time of his life.
And with,
even if it meant dragging like Pomni on a roller coaster if she hates it. Come on, Pomni! Here, why don't you ride the Yukon Striker with me? That sounds like family fun.
But Caine, it's got loops and a 90-degree drop.
But it's an adventure, Pomni. You like adventure, don't you?
keep up.
Keep up.
Let's adventure this roller coaster.
Hoi!
Say it with a Canadian accent.
Come on, Tipsy.
Let's adventure this. Let's adventure this here roller coaster, eh?
I'm
Canadian Caine.
I'm just breaking so much from this conversation. I swear. I was gonna say, do you have any more questions, Tipsy?
No, I think he just satisfied that one question of mine.
Okay. You say so.
I do at least have a couple more questions that I did want to ask. One of the, thinking of all these different questions or whatnot, there is one that did come to mind. Hold on a second, Tipsy, you got something?
Yeah. I actually just remembered one more.
Okay, one more question. Go on.
Right.
Did it freak you out when you first saw Caine's design?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, I just kind of thought, okay, I mean, yeah, his head's teeth, but I've seen weirder.
I mean, to be fair, how familiar were you with like Gooseworks stuff before, like leading up to this, or leading up to getting this run?
So that's a weird story in and of itself, because I did not know that Gooseworks was an animator.
Oh.
The funniest thing, Goose did Dr. Crafty's theme music years ago.
Oh, okay.
And it never clicked that they were the same person until it was pointed out to me by my fiance.
Oh, wow. Talk about life coming full circle at that point, huh?
This community is very small.
It is.
You'd be surprised.
Honestly, with the amount of people that I've gotten to talk to and the amount of connections I've been able to see throughout, it doesn't surprise me as much as you would believe. But it does lead me to another question. Like, obviously, you've had a great couple of roles already as is. Is there a role or a type of role that you are pining for the opportunity just to play, like, just for the fun of it?
There are a few. Oh my god.
Ooh.
I want to play a horror protagonist one day. Because, I mean, I do love my wacky characters, but I do kind of want to branch out into more, like, natural acting, just to see if I can do it.
Okay.
Then, this is the biggest pipe dream of them all, but I would love to be a voice in a Metroid game.
Oh.
Because that's my favorite video game series.
Honestly, that is extremely valid, especially with the different kind of characters that are available in there. Like, I could see why that's a more or less a pipe dream, or at least like a dream for you to have at some point.
Mm-hmm. And apart from that, I guess the most quote-unquote realistic thing for me is I'd love to be in a guest spot on Spy Family.
Ooh.
I love that anime, and if someone like that works on the show reached out and said, "Hey, I've got an audition for you," I mean, freaking sign me up for that.
That's all three of those sound like a really fun thing, and I sincerely hope you get the opportunity to try at least one of those, because those all sound like fun.
Yeah, but I think part of the thing with like a lot of the voice roles that I want is that often it's the stuff that I don't expect that I end up loving and gravitating to, like Caine, for example. I mean, I like my wacky gremlins, but I wasn't expecting, like, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I answered my own question. Just more wacky gremlins.
Hey, you know what? If that's gotten you up to this point or whatnot, just voicing more wacky gremlins, I don't think anyone is going to complain with you getting the opportunity to voice some more. I mean,
and if I got typecast as wacky gremlins for the rest of my life, I I don't think I'd be upset if it made me money.
Valid, very valid. Pay your voice actors, people.
Oh yes.
But like, you know, thinking not just with what you've been able to do recently with like Caine, but like some of the other incredible opportunities you've had beforehand, such as the infamous now Richard the Turd and the Turdlings. But even well before that, thinking back to like starting out with like that love of the arts and the movies, like with your dad and such, thinking to your art journey as a whole, does it more or less surprise you how far you've been able to develop as an artist?
I mean, I sure as hell never expected this. But I mean, for the longest time growing up, like, I did really pay attention to, like, cartoons and even voice actors in cartoons, because I remember, like, one of the biggest, like, jumping points into me doing voice acting was, like, I've brought up Codename Kids Next Door a bunch, this whole thing, and the thing that really got me hooked was the episode where the kids fight Father, like the main villain, for the first time. And I thought his voice, like Maurice LaMarche's voice, was just the coolest thing in the world at that point. And I was like glued to the credits, like, who voiced him? Who voiced Father? Or like I forget if that was my thought process, but like watching the credits and being like, oh hey, people voiced this. This guy, Maurice LaMarche, he voiced this cool guy, and it's like, yo, people do this, like, and it's like, they're not, like, famous, but they do this, and they make these great memories for me, and it'd be, like, I started to get more interested in that, like, then years later, or maybe, like, around that time, I was watching the Bionicle movie.
Oh, wow.
Mask of Light, when that came out, and paying attention to the voice actors and the credits as well, and then I went to my first convention, like, I forget what year, it must have been, like, I must have been, like, 11 or 12 or something, and I remember Scott McNeil, the voice actor, was there, and I knew that he had voiced a few characters in Bionicle the movie, and I was a little shit. I ran up to the front of his line, like, it was a big line. I ran up to the front, like, just precocious kid that I was, being like, oh my god, I loved you, you were Tahu and Onua! And he was like, I was also the Ash Bear. Oh yeah, you were the Ash Bear too! You were so cool, man! And he was like, you were the coolest dude. I didn't even get anything to sign. I just ran up quickly. I hope I wasn't much of a disruption, but like,
you telling me that you are the wacky little gremlin.
It's like hearing that convention story obviously made me think of, like, you know, the convention that I just went to see you at MomoCon, because that was my first convention, Alex. That was the first time I'd ever gone to a convention. Yeah.
What?
You're not serious.
I'm dead serious. I am 100% serious. That is my first ever convention I ever went to. So,
well, enjoy the journey and never stopping going to conventions.
Oh no, trust me.
Oh
no, trust me. I've already got my next convention planned for February, MegaCon in Orlando. So yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
But it's like, you know, but like the experience I got to have there, and especially like the experience of getting to meet you, and obviously the fun exchange we had with the bootleg merch or whatnot, like, it was moments like that it also kind of hit me that, like, wow, these are, like, you know, obviously I've kind of had that connection with this podcast, getting to meet all sorts of incredible people and really get to, like, see the human side behind some of my favorite artists or whatnot. But, like, really getting to just, like, meet you and meet Lizzie and meet some of the incredible artists and such, it was that kind of, like, moment that, like, really hit me that, like, wow, these are all incredible people, and I'm so lucky to even get an opportunity to know them, let alone meet them in person.
Just like you, and we're just like everybody else. Yeah. Like, I had that same feeling at MomoCon, being surrounded by people I look up to, and, like, even going out to dinner with, like, people like Goose and Lizzie. Just sitting down and talking with them like equals. That was really eye-opening, and conventions really break down that barrier in a lot of ways, and they're wonderful. They've been a part of my life for a long time, and I hope you enjoy your journey going on more.
I was gonna say, I imagine that's awesome to hear, and again, it must be surreal for you being the person that used to go to these conventions and see these incredible people to now being the one that people go to see at these conventions as well. That's gotta be a weird full circle moment as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah and no.
Oh.
Because I still go to conventions as a guest, or as like I still go to conventions as just like myself.
Right.
I just don't tell anybody I'm going.
Smart. Very smart.
Because, like, the beauty of being a voice actor is not everybody knows what I look like.
Right.
So I can just kind of blend into the crowd, hang out with, like, some of my, like, in real life friends, and just walk around artist alleys and, like, dealers' rooms and just kind of shoot the shit as me.
Absolutely. It's so fun to hear that. I mean, especially with like the artists that are available in like Artist Alley or whatnot, like especially at MomoCon. I don't know how often you got this, if you got a chance to see the Artist Alley. There were some really good artists out there.
Oh yeah.
Goodness. I got to meet Paper Box House, aka the voice of
Me
Egg.
too.
Yes,
Alfred and I think it was Ryan was there too.
Okay. I think so. I can't remember off the top of my head, but just meeting Alfred alone was incredible on its own.
Oh, they were just like the coolest. Like, oh, we took photos together and everything. It was great.
Oh, I took a photo with him as well. And just like you, I gave him my business card. Never got back to me just yet, but I gave him my business card. Yeah. What was that, Tipsy?
Oh, I was saying one day.
One day, absolutely. But, you know, we've been talking, like, a lot when it comes to some of the incredible stuff you've been able to do and some of the incredible opportunities that have been presented with you. But for this next question, Alex, if I may, I want to give you more or less the dream scenario. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags that you see right here. Art done by the fantastic TipsyJHearts. I come up to you and I'm like, look, Alex, we've seen some of the incredible stuff and the incredible performances you've been able to put out there. We know there's something incredible there. We just feel like we can give you a little extra push, a little extra platform to get you to a new echelon like never before.
Okay.
We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than there should be possible.
This dream scenario.
Oh, this is absolutely the dream scenario. And more money than there should be possible. We really should be, compensating those artists that are striking right now. Once again, hashtag staying with animation. But we'll focus on them in a little bit. We promise. Right now, we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Alex Rochon project?
I mean, crap. Like...
No, you already did the crap. Remember, it was the
Get out.
Look.
All right, this has been fantastic. Thank you.
There were already enough poo puns in Own Your Throne. Do we really need more? You know what? Yes, we do need more. I mean, again, I kind of gave a few of my dream projects, like Metroid, Spy Family. Oh wait! Digimon. Okay. Yeah, if I could just play a role in like that'd be great too.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, like I don't even want to put my eggs in one basket because I'm open to the stuff that I don't know.
Okay.
I had no idea that Digital Circus was a thing by the time I got approached for it, so who knows what I don't know is going to happen.
Extremely valuable. I mean, especially with how amazing, especially like not just with the animation space alone, but especially like the indie animation space alone, like some of the opportunities that can be presented to you or whatnot, like that. It's I can only imagine how insane of the roles that you may know nothing about now could really be if you're given the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But sadly, we gotta get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question: where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
still having consistent work.
That's a good start.
Consistent work, consistent convention appearances, enjoying myself. Hopefully a bigger place to live, traveling, being there for my friends and loved ones.
Hey, you know what? I honestly, hearing just all that, especially with what you've been able to do so far, hell, in the past 5 years, seeing where you've been able to get to or whatnot, if the next 5 or 10 you just get to do more or less more of that, I mean, who are us? Who are we to complain? That is a goal. That is a mentality. That is a vibe.
Yeah.
As we start to wind down the interview, I at least have one last question I want to ask Alex. Obviously,
Go ahead.
You're deeply entrenched in art in one form or fashion at this point. Like you are in there with all the different aspects you've been able to have. Hell, since you said you were a kid being exposed to the fantastic movies from your dad and such. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
I will never forget the day that I graduated from university. Because I believe one of the keynote speakers at my graduation ceremony made the very, very cogent point that while the sciences are what allow us to live, in a lot of ways the arts are really what give us reason to, or the want to. Because the arts allow us to reckon with who we are. They go into, like, why we're alive, why we have conflict, why we fight. Like, they can be entertaining, they can be an escape, they can teach new ideas. Art is everything. There's even art in science. There's art in engineering. There's, like, art's everything. It's why we're alive.
I think that is fantastically worded, if I do say so myself. That is all the questions I have for you, Alex. I've already showered you with a whole bunch of praise, but I'm going to shower you a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what I want.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Well, I was going to say, I know I got a lot to say. Tipsy.
Oh, no, more praise.
I know, right? I know I got a lot to say. Tipsy, do you have something you want to say, or do you want me to go first and then you finish it off?
Oh, no. By all means, if you want to say something first and then leave me the best for last, by all means.
Fine. Alex, like I said, ever since I first became exposed to your work, like with your performance of Caine, like that was obviously for a lot of people, I know for myself, that was my first introduction to you and what you've been able to present. I have absolutely loved your performance and I cannot get enough of it. Like the amount of times I have rewatched the 2 episodes of the Amazing Digital Circus alone and loving your performance among the others, like I cannot get enough of it. Getting the chance to really get to know you, like before the interview, by seeing some of the stuff you'll be able to post online and really getting to see the true person behind you, getting to meet you in person at MomoCon was an absolute blast and a dream come true.
Likewise.
Especially with obviously the trash holy grail that is the bootleg merch. and getting the chance to sit down with you now, like this chat that we've been able to have, like I know I said this several times, but I genuinely mean it when I say like the love and appreciation that I have for you is astronomical, is through the roof. And I appreciate that both with this role, but also just with seemingly every day you're putting yourself out there and you're really providing like the truest self of you in just about every single performance that you can. And I cannot tell you how much I love and appreciate that, how authentic of a performance you're giving when it comes to this kind of stuff. It makes...
Well, I mean...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on. I was just gonna say, like, the only person I can be is me. Like,
exactly.
I mean, I'm an actor. I play characters, but even with acting, it's a piece of myself that I'm putting out into the world, that I'm making characters with. Like, I'm molding them with clay.
Yeah.
It's like people like to say, "Oh, acting is just pretending or lying." cynically put, but I kind of view it as like taking the authentic bits of you and telling a story with that.
And like I've said a million times before, and I'll say it again, I appreciate you, that authentic you in those performances and stuff. It makes me excited, it makes me excited not just what you're going to be doing with Caine, but just what you're going to be doing in general in the future, because I know with every single performance you're going to be getting, I'm going to be getting an amazing performance at the end of the day, and I know I'm going to I cannot get enough of it. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting yourself out there, and thank you for being the wacky gremlin that you are, because we need more of those in the world.
Well, thank you for your appreciation for being such a great interviewer, for one.
Oh, that
and thanks to Tipsy as well for being just like the sarcastic energy that like kind of balances out the earnestness.
well, speaking of the fantastic Tipsy, what would you like to say to follow that up?
And also being an animator yourself, that's commendable as hell.
Yes.
Every day. I have no words. But I just want to say on my behalf, besides you being Canadian,
besides
that, I can put that to the side, and I'll just say at the bottom of...
Oh, you're gonna let that slide, are you?
Don't test me. But I was gonna say that I truly, I think it's very admirable of what you do, and I could just go off and off all about, but I think I would like to thank you for being a decent human being while having like the biggest career change of your life, because not only is it very admirable to like for someone who is in the same situation, being a working person while also doing something that they love and just having that moment of like yesness and they finally fucking succeed. Like, you could be any type of person after that, right? You could be the biggest piece of douchebag with your nose stuck in the air and just be like, these peasants and all to everybody. But you, sir, you decided to be a good guy. And you stayed to be that good guy. And it's your authenticity and your big ass heart is why a lot of people like me will forever like you, because not only are you great at voice acting, but you're just a great guy with a great personality and a big ass heart, and I appreciate you so much for that.
I'm as flawed as any other person, but at the end of the day, it's like, honestly, I'm not even really that successful. It's just like, but I don't know, like, if you're gonna do anything in this world, just make people's lives better. Like, the world's a hard enough place alone, so like, why not just brighten up another person's day for its own sake?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And honestly,
or just because you enjoy doing it. I don't know, maybe I'm not the most altruistic person in the world, I like voicing things that make people laugh, or it entertains me, and if other people find it entertaining and it brings joy to their lives, who am I to take that away from them?
well, you just keep being entertaining, and you just keep being a good little man, or else...
I will certainly try. I can't guarantee I'll always succeed, but you know,
also one last
little
thing that I'll say, and then I'll stop heaving praises onto you so much and whatnot. But honestly, seeing your journey as well or whatnot, it's also kind of inspired me in a way, because I've wanted to get into voice acting as well. I've had a few opportunities here and there and such, but like, you know, seeing you get this like cool once in a lifetime opportunity that people just cannot help but love and enjoy, like, it's kind of inspired me to try to like put myself out there more and try to see if I can get more opportunities. So thank you for that as well.
And with the age of the internet being what it is, and like things being able to be shared to thousands of people in an instant. Putting yourself out there is the biggest thing.
Yes.
Nobody is going to know that you're talented or that you can make others laugh if they don't see you. So that's how it is. Just put yourself out there.
Well, with that,
take that risk. Make that jump.
Oh, there you go. Well, with that in mind, if people want to see more about you and why we've been gushing about you for the past, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long we've been recording or whatnot, go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home.
Okay. You can follow me on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Instagram, even though I don't really use it that much, at Alex Rochon VA. I'm sure you'll probably link that in like the description or whatnot.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
Or an annotation on screen. What else? Big plug coming up. I don't know when this is going to air, but in a few weeks, I'm going to be at CadabraCon with the rest of the Digital Circus cast in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in that area, if you want to make that trip, if you're not in that area, I hope to see you there.
I will go ahead and let you know right now, this episode is coming out not this Thursday, but next Thursday. So there's definitely plenty of time for people out there if they want to go see that.
There's still time!
There's definitely still time. Alex, do you have any final words before we sign off?
Just thank you for having me. This was a pleasure from start to finish.
That, like I said, that genuinely warms my heart because I always want to make sure that my guests have a good time on this podcast, and especially with Tipsy helping along despite her, I don't know, hatred for Canadianism or something like that.
Trust me, that was also entertaining as hell. So I do not take that personally.
Well, I appreciate it regardless. And I like I said at the beginning, I'll say it again. Thank you for your time. This was an absolute blast.
Well, thank you again. This was very entertaining.
Well, I will get into a thank you fight until we get like another hour of. Tipsy, do you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
Mr. Caine, I kissed your wife. The blue moon.
Oh!
Tell me what's wrong, tell me it's parts in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, pick me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I greatly do appreciate it. This conversation with Alex was, I don't know what I expected, but it was so much better than I expected. Oh my god, this episode was a blast and then some. Alex, if you've gotten up to this point, sincerely, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. It was a real blast, not just to meet you at MomoCon and give you the bootleg merch, but it was honestly a gift and a pleasure and an honor to get a chance to talk with you right now. I still can't wrap my mind around it. Oh, it was such a fun chat. I mean, I'm sure you guys already understood, when I said in the beginning or whatnot, but this was... fuck. I'm still laughing about it. I'm sorry. It's just like... Think about the fact that I get to have weird and interesting conversations just like this one with some of the incredible friends that I get to have. It's a good cherry on the top of this weird journey that I've been able to have hosting this podcast. For those that don't know, when this episode drops on the 19th, 2 days beforehand, it had been 4 years since I dropped my first episode of the podcast. Literally, September 17th, 2020. And here we are 4 years later doing incredible stuff like this. Meeting incredible people like we have before. I mean, I could run through the entire list of people that I have gotten to meet. thanks to this incredible podcast. I mean, Alex alone was worth the price of admission. I mean, I could talk about some of the big names I've been able to bring on, like, Senior Palo, the odd ones out, Will Wood, the names everyone here would know. But I also gotta, get in a good word for the people that I've gotten to know extremely well and have considered some of my closest friends at this point. People such as, Too Much Sasha, Iris, freaking Ash's Art, Trey, Ripstud, all the fantastic people in Yinsbin, you know who you are, Tay, Bill, PA, freaking, I could go on a whole entire, Adam, I can't forget Adam. It just, it constantly blows my mind. Oh, and obviously I can't forget some of the incredible people such as, Eldritch Grandpa, My Emerald Tears, like so many incredible different artists that if you guys have not had the chance to go through and just listen back to some of the episodes or whatnot, like, please do, especially when you got people that deserve more love and support, such as, for example, Christian Carrion, Circa Bree, Baphomet the Clown, Southpaws, so many fantastic artists that I consider myself lucky to even know. And that's not even considering like the people that have really been my closest friends and have really had my back ever since they've heard about me and have really been involved. Aiden, Tipsy, you two are some of the best people that I've ever had the opportunity to meet, and I consider myself lucky to have you guys be a part of this podcast in one form or fashion. It may not be the most busy, we may not always, chat, we may not always have solid plans set in place, but the fact that I get to bring you guys along for the ride, you guys get to help me out with all this fun stuff, it genuinely means a lot, and I cannot thank y'all enough for really having my back and having my side. All the people that have helped shaped this podcast to be the way that it is. Rochon, I check out last week's episode to know exactly how I feel about having them really do a fantastic job providing a new logo that represents what this podcast is all about. And also make sure you give some love and support to Salvador Salcido. The pilot episode, without him really providing the first steps with both how to present ourselves, but also how these episodes should go, this podcast would not be what it is. I could go on for age. Oh, and I cannot forget Fasado, especially not just with the original intro, but the updated one with the new logo. He did a phenomenal job with that stuff. And it's people like y'all that really make this thing special. All those people, they are not only just fans of the podcast, but they are some of my closest friends. They have been the best part of this podcast. They have been the thing that means the most to me more than anything else. Like, don't get me wrong. I am honored more than anything else to be such a, how should I word this? Such an ally in this kind of art space, to where there are people that know about me and know what I am capable of and know that I am there to fight alongside them, to really provide that beacon of light where I can for these fantastic artists. That alone is a gift and an honor alone. But the people that I have gotten to meet, the people that I've gotten to really know, really get close to, people that I've been able to spend time outside of these computer screens to really meet up with, it constantly blows my mind that I have this, not just honor, this privilege to do that and to talk to such incredible people such as Alex in today's episode. I guess what I'm trying to get at, the long and short of it, is thank you guys. Thank you guys for the past 4 years for really allowing me to have such incredible conversations. Thank you for allowing me to get to know the people that I know are going to have my back until the end of time, no matter what. And I sincerely hope that you guys are along for that ride as well. it would be an honor and a privilege to have you guys show that love and support. Because you know I'm going to give that love and support right back to y'all. That's what this podcast is all about. I'm going to do everything in my power with this little platform that I have, no matter how slow or how fast it grows. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that the artists that I bring on here absolutely deserve the love and support that they get, because they absolutely deserve it. You guys absolutely deserve it. So keep up that love and support, not just for this podcast, but to every single artist that comes through here. I love you guys. Thank you to 4 years. And here's to many, many, many more.